My name's Deborah O'Neill and I'm one of the Academic Development Tutors in the School of Health and Life Sciences at Glasgow Caledonian University. I've put together this short vidcast to help you think about writing scientifically and academically for lab reports at university. In this session, we'll discuss the topics listed to help you produce a high-quality lab report for university. You can also use these skills for other assignments such as essays or presentations. Academic writing in general will be covered in more depth in another section of the bio skills for uni materials, but it's worthwhile highlighting a few key points here. Scientific terms should always be italicised when written in your report. Also, numbers should be written as numerals when they are greater than 10 or when they are associated with measurements. So for example, you would write 24mm and 9 kilograms in numeric form. However, if you were to say there are 2 possible explanations for these results, you would write that in word form. Similarly, if you were to say there were 4 different factors affecting the outcome of your practical class, then you would also express this in word form. Some other important things to know about writing numbers is if that you are writing a list with numbers below and over 10, the list can then be expressed numerically. So for example, you would say 17 locusts, 6 ants and so on. You should also not start a sentence with a numeric, and if you decide you want to start a sentence with a number, make sure it is in written form regardless of the size. It's also worth noting that though your report is sectioned off into different headings, it must still have a flow and it must still flow from section to section for the reader. Also remember that you should not say I, we or you in your reports or essays, as these all personalise the writing. Instead of saying something like, then we measured the chemical, you could say the chemical was measured. Think about how you're expressing yourself when you're writing and that you do not let informal language or opinion creep in. To ensure that your writing flows well, you'll use linking words and signposting. Linking words are words like however and furthermore, and they tell the reader where your assignment is going. So for example, you might say, this experiment suggests that more research is required in this area. Furthermore, that this research should be focused on. The use of furthermore here helps to build your argument. If you use a different linking word such as however, this shows the reader that your argument is taking a different direction or considering another perspective. Signposting is how you link your sections together with longer phrases, so you might say something like this. Having discussed the reliability of previous research, this report will now discuss the current literature. This shows the reader what you have covered and where your writing is going, and this is how you lead the reader through your assignment. These are just a few examples, and there are many more academic words that you can use to link and signpost your writing. More examples of linkages and signposting can be found in the next slides, and also by copying this link into your browser. This will really help you build your academic vocabulary. So for example, if you wanted to make comparisons between 2 things, you could consider using words like similarly, in the same way, etc. Or when you're providing examples, instead of always just saying for example, you could use some of these terms. Your work must also be constructed in paragraphs. Paragraphs link your ideas and evidence together in a really structured way so that you can convey your points, your findings and your discussions in the best way to the reader. Good paragraphs will have a topic sentence. This is the first sentence of the paragraph and lets the reader know what the rest of the paragraph will be about. After the topic sentence, you must elaborate with supporting details such as evidence to support your argument. You should also have a closing sentence to show that you've come to the end of discussing one topic and are moving on. This is an example of a paragraph with a topic sentence which tells the reader exactly what the rest of the paragraph will be about. It also has supporting evidence to back up this point and relevant data to support why it is an important area. The final sentence sums up the paragraph and also links to the topic which will be discussed next, which in this case is interventions to stop the onset of diabetes. As well as making sure your writing is scientifically accurate and is well structured, you also have to make sure you provide evidence for the points and arguments that you make. You should reference any time you use an author's idea or refer to their work, and any time you use statistics, basically any time you refer to anything someone else has written. Even if you just know something to be true, you still have to reference it. For example, you can just happen to know that diabetes is on the increase, but you can't say this in an assignment without giving evidence as to how you know that. If you don't give evidence by referencing, it's as if you're saying you're the very first person to have thought of this. A key skill when referencing is to learn how to paraphrase. This basically means putting the author's ideas into your own words. And it's also really important to note that even when you put the author's ideas into your own words, you still have to reference this, as you still have to say where you got the original idea from. There are many different referencing systems used at universities. The biology department at Glasgow Caledonian University use the Harvard system of referencing. You'll receive more information on the specifics of this when you begin your programme, but at this stage it's important to think about when and why you reference.